Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we decided to make this episode a drinking game.
Ooh.
So anytime you hear us say anything negative at all about this film, about each other, about how all this talk of stool pigeons made Dave both horny and hungry, you're going to hear this sound. That sound means that we're taking a drink, and we hope you drink along with us.
See, we made Jeff write these jokes so he can prove he saw the movie this week. So pour yourselves a glass, get ready to gnaw on your fingers in angst while the lights go out as we go all the way back to the 1930s.
1934. Cheers. Bottoms up. That's right, people. Oh, yeah. Love of Cinema, positive drinking podcast. Try to keep it positive. If we don't, we got a drink. Going back to 1934. We've been back here before. Goodbye, Mr. Chips, 1939. Guess what? That book was written in 1934, but we saw the movie for 1939. Go back and check it out. We did The Third Man. We got so many good movies from this era. I didn't know we went back to 1934, though. I think this is the farthest back we've gone. Right? Is this the farthest back we've gone?
I think it is, yeah.
It might be.
Pretty fun. We got a YouTube if you want to see us on video. I think I'm crooked. I think my picture's crooked today. You can tell by the casing of the wall behind me.
Well, it's just on an angle. It's fine.
Yeah, it's on an angle.
Your picture is level.
Are you talking about the bottom of the picture?
Yeah. Did you Dutch tilt yourself?
I am on it. I guess so. I'm a little crooked.
Just being dramatic this week.
What else? Dave, thanks for editing and producing this, you dick. And wait, I got to say one thing here. Last time when we picked this episode, and John, you just went to Paris. I appreciate it. You're not wearing a beret, unfortunately, right now.
No beret.
You said you were so happy to do 1934 because you said it was the first Academy Awards, and you were so wrong. It was so not the first Academy. You said 1934, the year of the first Academy Awards, and you're like, oh, actually, it was 1935, but for the night. Yes, you did. Go back and listen to our episode. I just did. I just listened to it because I forgot what movie we were doing.
You know what? We drink on this podcast.
Yeah. John, do you know where to find the episodes?
Say that again.
John, do you know where to find the episodes? Do you know what platforms we're on? It's on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher. We'll tell you what we've been watching We'll tell you what we've been watching at the. Yeah, we'll tell you what we've been watching at the end of the episode. What you've been watching. We have a couple mini reviews, which are short, spoiler-free reviews. Dave's got Thunderbolts. You got that in the episode notes. And John saw The Accountant. No, The Accountant 2. Right? The Accountant 2?
Yes.
Hell yeah. And then we're going to talk about The Thin Man, but we're also going to set up the context. What happened in 1934? If you need to scoot ahead, we are not one of those weird podcasts that have all these chapters, but you have to go and find them because they want you to listen and then whatever. We are very clear. So go ahead and just look. And thanks to Apple and Spotify, it is very clear when we're talking about The Thin Man. So if you want to scoot ahead, you can. Otherwise, you can do it in installments, mini reviews, then 1934 year in context, and then Thin Man. That's our order. Anything else you want to do before... Well, I guess, John, you can shout some sponsors out, and then maybe you want to talk about some news or anything.
I'll shout some sponsors. Yeah. And then I have a little news action.
Sure.
So we have two sponsors. Carlos Barroso is our beer sponsor. You can find his link, his Instagram handle in the show notes, cbarroso.beer. We also have a music artist in residence. You've heard him talk on the show. You've heard his music on every single episode of the show. It's Dasein, Dasein. You can find their links in our show notes, and you can also just use the link tree. They're on every single usual music platform. Search Dasein, Dasein.
I'll tell you his address in a minute.
His address? Yeah, it's coming up. I'll also shout out, guys, I found out there's some sad news, but I wanted to just put it out there. My directing mentor, James Foley, passed away on Thursday.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this happened while I was gone. I've gotten kind of closer with him over the past year or so since graduating. I feel very lucky I got to meet him. Yeah. He was struggling with brain cancer, and I just learned when I got back that he passed away, and I think he died peacefully in his sleep. But I did just want to call him out and pour one out for him. James Foley, he went by Jamie Foley, anyone who was in the business. He graduated in the early 80s from USC, and he went on to direct multiple Madonna music videos like Papa Don't Preach, Live to Tell, Dress You Up, True Blue, The Look of Love, Who's That Girl? He made his first feature within 2 years of graduating. It was called Reckless in 1984. He made At Close Range with Sean Penn. Reckless was a first feature, dude. It's good. 1986, 2 years later, At Close Range with Sean Penn and Christopher Walken. That's a really good movie. People should definitely watch that. 1992, Glengarry Glen Ross. 1996, he made Fear. That movie, it was a big studio film with, was it Reese Witherspoon, I believe, and Mark Wahlberg, which when they were quite young and kind of launched both of them. Confidence in 2003. He directed 12 episodes and was one of the executive producers of the first 3 seasons of House of Cards. He was friends with David Fincher because of the Madonna connection. And then he made, right there toward the end before the pandemic, he made at the same time, filming at the same time, the first half of the day was dedicated to the first, second half of the day was dedicated to the second, the 2 sequels to the 50 Shades movies. That's 50 Shades Darker, which came out in 2017, and 50 Shades Freed in 2018. He shot them simultaneously.
I was going to ask how we got a studio to agree to that, but it's the fucking 50 Shades movies. So they'll agree to anything to make that money.
To Jamie Foley, thanks so much, man. I'm going to miss him. That he was, we lost a good one. James, cheers.
Wow. Damn, what a directing mentor for you. That's awesome that you got to spend time
it was
with
great, dude. He was a nice guy. I'm really glad I got to meet him. Sad he's gone. Okay.
Damn.
On that note.
Bring it back.
That's some good news.
You want to do some mini reviews?
Oh, I do.
Do you want to bitch about anything?
Actually, real fast, because I don't want to get into the weeds, but I'll just encourage people, because this is a weird thing that's happening. We all have been given a lot of shit to the Trump-appointed Hollywood ambassadors, the crazy 4. But we heard, if anyone was interested, you can go online and you can read Jon Voight's official proposal to the White House. And I think everyone who listens to our show knows how we feel about that administration, but I am in favor of a lot of the propositions that he's making, at least the spirit of them, if not the literal details. I think he met and did a lot of good homework.
It's like, are you in favor of them, or is just the alternative so fucking crazy it's going to destroy everything?
Well, I don't like to think of it as the alternative because what he said, the tariffs thing, is just so like everything else. It's just so ridiculous. I don't think that's an actual option.
Yeah.
So I am in support of the idea of somebody that is actually apparently, supposedly, and I wasn't in these fucking rooms, but apparently Jon Voight did go around town and he did meet with some studios, production companies, talent managers, agents, heads of streamers. He did try to actually sit down and ask, like, what's happening and what can we improve upon? And I don't think anyone would be too shocked who follows the business of this industry. A lot of this stuff is kind of a return to what things used to be in terms of equity deals and how we think about back end, how we think about funding productions, and a new age kind of look at how we can approach the new form of incentives in terms of tax, redemption, write-offs. There are some really amazing things that he's proposing that would, in theory, bring more production back and create official incentive partnerships with countries where people do like to film a lot right now already. So I can't really think of what this would do badly for the United States, Hollywood, like the core of what we do. And if countries would be willing to work with us, people like Hungary, people like the UK, people like Canada, we do film a lot there anyway. If they were to enter into a partnership with us, there's not going to be any bad blood on anybody's hands. Yeah. Everybody's going to win from that.
I love that the day that hit my inbox, New York went, fuck it, we're on board, and announced massive tax breaks again.
Yeah, and New York. Yeah, talk about mention that for a second, because that was fucking
New
awesome
Jersey.
too.
New Jersey had higher tax breaks than New York until this happened, and so a lot of places were trying to go to New Jersey, which makes no sense because all the studios are in New York. So it's not easy.
Jersey's got a couple now.
I mean, they do. I know from Angela, of course, that the Joker 2 filmed a little bit in the Bronx because they had the Bronx stairs, but they actually did a lot of the outsides in New Jersey as well. But also, so people are clear about this. I think we hear like tax breaks, and I feel like we just don't really understand how taxes work. But in some states, it's like 20%. I even heard 40 for some overseas markets. But, like let's say with 20, because I think 40 is wild. But like if you get a 20% tax incentive, it means that if you have a $200 million movie, you actually spend $240 million and you get that $40 million back. So your $200 million budget goes up to $240. And one of the things, and this goes to liberal administrations, we can be hard on ourselves sometimes too, is you have certain states like New York and California that don't want to give tax incentives if some of that money is going to big salaries. Like let's say Tom Cruise is in a $50 million movie and is guaranteed $50 million. That $50 million may be put into that $240 million budget. This is a
$50 million
totally
film filmed
world.
on an iPhone because that's all I've got left.
Well, because whatever. But it's like there are other countries that are like, fuck, we don't care. It's your budget. You do whatever the fuck you want with it. So it's like a lot of these states are just playing hard to get. They've been getting clever over the years. That's why Atlanta had a good run. Louisiana's had a good run. All these states have had good runs, and California's gotten the short end of the staff. So I'm totally, whatever it is, if it's tax incentives or other, I'm just glad that it's competitive. But I'm also glad that you can't just escape. If your studio is based in California, all your talent is there, all your offices are there. You can't just go and film somewhere else because they're going to throw money at you. You have to.
LA, I think, has to do something about the permitting situation because the cost of those.
In all of California.
They did, for what it's worth, they did just officially streamline LA Film, which is anyone who has made a movie here, even at somebody at my level who is making student films, independent films, those vertical shorts series that I've made professionally now, but all the way up to the biggest studios. The company that we have to work with, the red tape had gotten so extreme and the costs had gone up so high that it was a giant incentive on its own to not do anything here. They just streamlined it and they dropped the prices. So they're trying to do stuff. California's raising their incentive to $750. But I think the bigger point that I thought, I am still, in my mind, I am more of an independent filmmaker myself anyway, but what this proposal made me think about, and I'll reference him again. I've told you before, I have an uncle who is a set dresser through my wife's family. And this proposal made me really think about coal miners and these factory jobs that we are now faced with this existential concept of, can they ever exist again here? Probably not, because of the way that automation and things have moved on. It's almost like we're 80 years ago in that situation, but with Hollywood right now. We are looking in the face of losing generational talent that works at the studio level in the art department, in the set department, in grips department. We're losing generational people.
The props company that's causing.
I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen to theater.
Absolutely. Exact same concept. Hundreds of people that work on these productions, they are not getting work right now. So there is no incentive for people to learn how to do those things at the absolute highest level. And I mean this with the most respect, but when you're working independently, a lot of us end up wearing multiple hats. And we might not be able to afford the person who's like working consistently at a studio who's really good at that. That's what you're going to lose if you don't support the core of your industry at the highest level. You're going to lose expertise, and you're going to lose generations of it when you don't have people who are learning on the job. And that's a scary idea. And we're like watching it in real time. We're about 15 years into this decline, and it got way worse with the pandemic, of course. Right. But we are literally looking at it in the fucking face. If we don't bring a lot more opportunity back to this town, those jobs are going to suffer long term. So this is why these giant proposals are so important.
Think about that props department. Yeah, there's computer and there's automation. There you can label everything and put it into big spreadsheets and stuff. But there were people that worked there that have been working in movies for decades that know every prop. But then with that, you come connection to carpenters, refurbishers, colorists, painters, other like visual artists that are important in, we want this prop that's historic. We want to honor that, but we also want to put it into this movie. And the cultivation of that entire community that's so essential, especially for period pieces, but even beyond, if you want like a lot of sci-fi that's futuristic, tends to be based in some historical something. They have some influence. If you lose that business, which I forget the name of this company, this props company is gone. They are folding. And so you lose all of those, it's severed. All of those ties are severed. And so all of that connection, you know, the bricks start to fall. I'm thinking about it like the inside out islands are starting to crash down. And it's like, what's going to be standing?
Well, I'll give you an example.
It's going to be more expensive. The weird thing about this is that they can't afford to stay afloat. So then if you want props, it is now going to get more expensive simply because they couldn't have the money to stay afloat.
Yeah. Like an example of, you mentioned colorists. You go into a forum for colorists and you ask a question, you get 4 wrong answers, and the one guy who's right gets shouted down by the 4 wrong guys. Because people who aren't trained and who don't know the science are like just coming in and being louder. So they're going to lose that skill set.
It's that same. I feel like Dave, you and I bitched about this before, and being two people who are kind of self-taught, if you will, there's always a danger to having this much technology accessible to anybody.
Yeah.
You have those louder voices. So
we had that when video cameras came out.
Sure.
Everyone was a cinematographer.
And without your places that are like gatekeepers, for lack of a better word, to giving you those kinds of opportunities where you are working with like the very best. I got to work at a sound shop a couple summers ago, and just I had no fucking business. I consider myself, I'm pretty good with that stuff. These people are prodigies. These people are freaks of nature. There's less than like 50 of them that do all the work you've ever heard on every movie you've ever seen, because they're freaks. And if they are not teaching the people under them to come up and have a good life and opportunity, good living, good quality of living, and good opportunities to keep making those kinds of movies without being forced to travel around the world, which they can't do. There's never going to be enough incentive to bring your entire pre and post-production crew with you. You don't do that that's something that I think we maybe should clarify for people who are not in the industry. When you make a movie in another country, you might bring some department heads with you. You are not bringing the bulk of your crew with you. It's not like you're flying 200 grips, everybody in the art department, everybody that's going to cater your food. You're not like bringing them from LA to shoot in Ireland or to shoot in Budapest.
Yeah, George Miller's the only one that does that.
It's insane. You would never do that for the most part. So I do think, it's just a little education there. And I'll correct myself. I said like 80 years ago for the coal industry. That wasn't that long ago that happened. So the reason I'm correcting myself is it happens quickly when it happens. That was the 90s and 2000s, and we saw that industry just go like this. If we're not careful, you're going to lose too many people, and you're not going to know how to start doing it again, because we don't have the same system that created those geniuses in the first place. We don't have the old studio system anymore.
It's the same deal as well. I mean? Like I work freelance around the city now, and there's a lot of kids now who don't even know how to freelance properly. Like they get one gig and they expect that job to pay for their apartment and pay for this and they
cavalry is never coming.
And they freak out when it doesn't. It's like, okay, so you've got yourself in a shop or whatever, and you're freelance, but you're only as good as the other 5 guys standing behind you waiting. Got to have more than one gig, and then of course that gig dries up for a couple of months, and they're crying to everyone. And it's like, dude, we told you. Like, not only is there no one teaching them how to do this, no one's listening because they think they already know it. So it's kind of you kind of need that old grumpy guy beating them into submission a little bit to be like, this is how you survive doing this, because I have survived doing this.
And I'll add one more layer on top of that. I think what's unfortunate about the lack of this big business is that the fallout has forced us to do what you're talking about. You know what I mean? There's so many less opportunities because there were so many less productions than there were maybe in a bolder, more expansive time like the 90s, or even the 80s were more expensive than we are right now. Even the early 2000s were in a better shape. That people are now in this industry, you're seeing pros who have been doing this for decades having to live the life you just described. At some point, we were hoping we would, not that cavalry is coming, but maybe you would get to a certain echelon where you were sought out by the more legitimate production companies and studios, that payday might be good enough so that you don't have to have 10 jobs at once. But
that was me. I agree
with what you're saying.
Just before the pandemic,
I'm lamenting this.
I cracked that just before the pandemic, and then it just all went away.
And in other countries, your money goes farther. The cost goes up, so we need more money to survive. And anyway,
so I am hopeful. I feel like there's a lot of momentum right now. Everybody's talking about it. Let's make something happen.
Unlike you're a casual retired detective who lives a life of luxury and retirement in New York City, bumming around having parties where they're just ordering sandwiches and drinks that get delivered.
Her father left us a lumber yard.
That helped. The dowry helped.
He said, I'm taking care of those. I'm taking care of those for her.
Anyway, back to the Thin Man. All right, you guys got some movie reviews. We got to get into the mini reviews here.
Yeah,
so why don't we start with Dave? Dave, why don't we start with you? You saw a big one.
Well, I went and saw Thunderbolts, and then I went and took my wife to see Thunderbolts because she doesn't always come to see the Marvel films because, they haven't been that good of lately. This one is way deeper than you'd expect. This one is like, it has way more substance in it than expected.
Really?
I would hasten to say it is probably one of the best directed Marvel films I've seen in a long time. Because just the spacing of like the emotional beats to the action beats are like right on the money. And I've seen details of extra bits of plot and stuff that they had already in the movie that they took out just for like pacing and time and everything. It's really, really good. Like it deals with mental illness in a way that's fantastic on screen. Because I was really concerned how they were going to deal with introducing this one particular character because he's so fucking overpowered. And yeah, they nailed it. They really nailed it. I've seen it twice.
Is it Bucky?
It's not.
Don't tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 after credit scenes, by the way. Sit right to the end. It's worth it. First time I saw
it for the spoiler. That's the dumbest spoiler I've ever heard in my life.
No.
That's the first one.
No, that's the end of the movie, dude.
Okay, good.
And
I can't. People say this, and everybody's trying to not spoil it. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Every single time they make an Avengers movie, they're hoping it's the new Avengers.
I feel like,
all right, just because they're moving into the building,
I feel like that was set up to be
like
spoiled because that thing's had an asterisk next to it for like 6 months before it came out.
So do you think people noticed the giant asterisk next to the title?
I feel like they did that on purpose. That was a marketing
I hear the movie's good. I just think that's the dumbest spoiler of all time. It reminds me of when I saw Sonic in theaters and all the kids were like, Knuckles! Yeah. Like fucking Santa Claus was in the room or something. And I was like, guys, it's just the new Avengers. They're moving into the building. It's okay. It's also, all the other Avengers are gone. They're looking for new Avengers.
And one of the other credit scenes addresses that. But it's also,
okay.
Like,
I should see it before I knock it.
You probably should, yeah.
I hear the movie's good. Sorry, you keep going.
It has, I think it was a 53% drop off in ticket sales from first to second week, which is the highest the Marvel films had.
Interesting.
As in the best. Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, the drop off is
so a lot of them have a higher drop off.
Yeah.
It retained 53%.
Oh God, I wish I had the number in front of me, but 2 weeks ago, I saw that the drop-off from Sinners
from the
first to second weekend was really high, and the only movie that that they could compare to they didn't beat was probably Endgame. It was one of the later really good Marvel movies. But anyway, that's awesome. You're not the first person. Everyone's talking about it. Everybody's saying it's good. All right. I saw The Accountant 2.
That's on my list. It was definitely on my list.
It's good and it's worth seeing in the movie theater. I'm going to say this. No fucking surprise, but the trailer made it look like they were leaning way more into kind of like over-the-top comedy between Ben Affleck and Jesus Christ, what's his name?
John Bernthal?
Thank you, John Bernthal. And there's also, there's an autism neurodivergent aspect to Ben Affleck's character. If anybody saw the first one, it's the same character, of course. And the trailer, again, made it kind of look like they were leaning into that in a, not an exploitive, making fun of it way, but as though their dynamic was part of this kind of Rain Man style humor.
Rain Man with a gun.
There is that. There is that. I'm not saying it's not there, but it's not the substance. There is still a good action and kind of a intelligence, not spy, but problem solving. We got to figure this problem out, and we have to go like underneath the layers and around typical justice to solve this problem. It's got all the stuff you're looking for. And this is not a critique. I'm just going to put this as a caveat because I think some people might be thinking about it, and I'm going to argue why I thought it was actually good. Gavin O'Connor directed this. He did not direct the first. Did he direct the first one? He's the guy who made Warrior, with that movie with Tom Hardy and the fighting movie, the UFC kind of fighting style movie.
Joel Edgerton,
So he also did, anyway, he directed this, and there is the editing and the pacing.
Gavin O'Connor did The First Accountant.
He did the first one. The editing, more than the first one, I felt like the editing and the pacing for this one was intentional and a little slow in some parts for an action movie. And I'm putting action movie in quotes. And I think it actually ended up giving it significance. It made it feel like a little bit more was happening. There was more substance. There was more character. There was drama there that they wanted you to see. And they do take a nice, respectful and interesting approach to how they deal with more neurodivergent characters, and that's kind of all I'll say about that. It's worth seeing in the movie theater. I had a big crowd at a regular theater because there's no IMAX available or big format, so we were just in normal theaters, and we still had a good time, and the crowd enjoyed it a lot. You should go see it. Okay.
The Accountant is a $80 million budget, and it's made about $80 million worldwide. So would that be considered a failure, or do you think they have other things in mind with this? Like, how do you?
I think box office wise, that's not doing well. And I was afraid they weren't going to do well because of Sinners and because of Thunderbolts. And
right,
I think
it came out.
That's true. Let me put it this way, and I'm not picking on Marvel, but the people who were in my movie theater did not go see Thunderbolts. It might not go see Thunderbolts. So there are less of us that would choose when Thunderbolts is out to go see another movie in a regular format theater.
I don't want to turn this movie into the box office because it's the dumbest thing in the world. But at the same time, this is coming out of this very time where they said that Sinners destroyed the current iteration of this has been Variety, right? The current iteration of the studio system. And Sinners is going to make $300 million this week. Marvel's is about to make $300 million, but that's not a lot for 2 weeks in international release. They have Mission Impossible coming up, and they have a $370 million budget. So in order to recoup with marketing, they need to make at least $600 million. And it's like, in the old days, you had Blockbuster. So if you had break even at the box office, you were golden. If it was, if you could get some rentals and you can get some purchases, I don't know what any of this means. I just hope that they keep making. I don't love the franchise thing is different, but this is a movie that I'm interested in. This is where it's great. The first movie was great. People had time. It was 2018. It's been 7 years. The second one's going to be good. Go see it. Everybody says it's good. And it's not doing well. And I just hope that these kinds of movies keep getting made. I hope there's some world in which this is also money makes sense.
Because Ben is involved, he was a producer on it. It's an artist equity project. And not to go back to the news, but people should go visit Artist Equity's website and read a little bit about how they're making movies. It is interesting, their new model. And it's another reason why I think you should try to give them your money. It's a good movie, but give them your money. If you went and saw Air, that was the first big artist equity production. This one is another one. I think you should try to support. People are trying to find ways to use money differently in productions when costs are going through the roof and it's going to the wrong people. Anyway, that's my little 2 bits. It's fun. Go see the movie. It's good. You're going to like it.
I love it. It. My semester, I had 2 semesters end this week, so I'm ready to go back to the cinema. I saw a lot of TV. We'll talk about it later. So, are you guys ready? I'm going to skip the gripes. We've been griping.
I really want to get one off my chest.
You want to get a gripe? Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Have you already pooped today, or is it about to come out of both ends?
No, it's about to come out everywhere.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So I went and saw Thunderbolts today. Jesus. I went and saw Thunderbolts today, and I just want to say, again, we're back at the stage. Like, the theater was fantastic. The audience behavior is killing the theater experience.
Yes, I thought
because in the last 2 screenings that I went to, which were both Thunderbolts, coincidentally, I had someone have a dramatic fight in the front row and do that hell no strut up and down the front row during the movie, and just distracting every single person in the theater. Some dude in today's screening fucking turned on their stereo and blasted their music instead of the music during the end credits.
What?
While they're sitting there waiting, they put the stereo on. Like I could hear it from halfway down the theater where I'm fucking sitting.
Like those guys in the subway that just play speakers out loud.
Yeah. But the best one was today. Some dude lit up a fucking cigarette in the theater.
Oh my God, it's illegal.
I'm like, can you smell? Like my wife's like, can you smell smoke? And I'm like, nah, no, I wouldn't do that. And I looked down, there's this guy fucking puffing away. And I nearly went down, but like, you just can't approach people about that because they just turn into fuckwits. And then you have to punch them. Then the cops come, and then you're in trouble.
Okay. I send you the thing about my subway cops that just sit there on their phones every single day. I take a picture of the 2 subway cops and they're leaning against stuff on their phones, and they're supposed to get people that are fare evading. So to not pay so we're paying these people with benefits and everything, and they're literally like leaning against poles on their phone every single time I see them. Have you tried to
sneaky start your own gripe?
No. It's the same gripe, because what I'm saying is I really feel like, and we've said this about many times in the gripe, I'm not saying we should start like putting people in jail and stuff like that, but I was like, kids in high school know that if they're bad, they go to detention, right? And I feel like you can have a non-police state, and kids know if they do something wrong, they go to detention, and they can bitch and moan about it. But that if there was no detention, it would be the average kids would start going insane. You can't have somebody light a cigarette in a movie theater.
I know, that's
there
fucking
has to be
ridiculous.
Consequences.
The thing is, as soon as he figures...
The thing is, it is not up to an AMC employee making minimum wage to be the one to put their life on the line to tell this person to put the cigarette out.
My wife is going to go down and go him because she was like, hell no, not happening. I'm like, no.
But these police officers, I don't trust either. The majority of them. Some obviously.
But the worst part is he finished his cigarette, picked up his bag, and walked out. I'm like, did you just come in our theater to fucking light up?
Were you at AMC Times Square?
I was.
We're getting.
It's not the best. It's not the best for clientele. Not gonna lie, but
you're definitely tapping into something though. When people stop going to theaters as much, like we're going to lose an etiquette and a culture around that experience as well, for sure.
Should we write the essay? Sorry, go ahead.
Fucking Meta proposed. Did you see that about having dedicated screenings to being able to like live text during it, and like it would send you text like in a texting experience to attract Gen Zers? Dude, what the fuck?
With the theater and it didn't work.
That's the one where the movie texts you. I'm like, yeah, fuck that.
They tried it in theater, like to have text seats in the background. And they thought it'd be done. Yeah, Meta, that's fucking
also,
stupid. I'm sure they just wanted the news.
I have to point out, Netflix is about to pull the last of their interactive shit too. So if you haven't seen Black Mirror Bandersnatch yet, you've got until like tomorrow. So all that interactive experience is disappearing.
Oh,
why?
God.
Why are they doing that?
They just didn't. I guess it wasn't as popular as they thought it was, or no one's watching it, so they're just freeing up the space.
Which is a really bad idea. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, Bandersnatch it's like, I can't remember how many hours of fucking video it is to compensate for all the choices, but it takes up a huge chunk of space.
Oh, I'm sure.
So,
well, not as much as ChatGPT. Okay, let's do it. Let's
stop saying thank you to it.
No backdoor gripe for me. I snuck a couple mini backdoor gripes in some of these other ones, but let's get into it.
Oh, can I quickly? I did make my donation for not drinking. This time it was $60. Went to the New York Food Bank, and this time around I am donating to Ghetto Film School in New York.
Well, that's
good.
Yeah,
a good choice.
And I'm up to $3 already.
And John's up
this
to 0.
This one's for the kids.
Fuck you, John.
This one's for the kids. Awesome. All right, Jeff, tell me about the year.
Okay, 1934 is an interesting year, so I'm going to try to keep it snappy. I got some good trivia here. I love the trivia, but I understand having multiple segments makes the episode long, so I'm going to keep it snappy. So are you guys ready to talk about 1934? We like to start with the box office. The box office is a little contentious here. It's a little contentious. Two sites that I looked at had different answers, and I'm not fucking with you. The numbers had two movies with no number as to how much money anything made. So 1934, the numbers are very reliable. So anyway, I'm going to go to Wikipedia as the only one that decided to be bold enough to put some numbers out. Do you know what the highest grossing movie from 1934 was, according to Wikipedia?
I'm going to say Cleopatra.
John?
Oh, man. I want to say It Happened One Night.
These are both good guesses, so I can't buzz you, even though I really want to, because I fucking hate you guys. No, I'm kidding.
I'll do it.
Sorry. I'm kidding. Actually, Cleopatra came in at number 2, Dave, and It Happened One Night came in at number 4, John. So really good guesses. So Kid Millions came in at number 1 with $2 million domestic rentals. The distributor was United Artists. Kid Millions is a 1934 American musical film directed by Roy Del Ruth. Sam Goldwyn Productions, starring Eddie Cantor.
Wow.
Its elaborate ice cream fantasy finale production number was filmed in 3-strip Technicolor. That's it. That's all I got for you.
Wow.
So
cool.
Kid Millions,
Just
according to Wikipedia, comes at number 1.
So the color exploded in the last third act.
It's also a little bit of bullshit because it says $2 million even. Like, what are the odds it made exactly $2 million? Cleopatra comes in at number 2 at $1,929,161, which is a very solid number.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like they rounded up for Kid Millions. So Dave, Cleopatra probably came in number 2. And a lot of people said it was a huge financial loss, but technically the budget for Cleopatra was less than $1 million. So it theoretically made $1 million on top of that. But yeah, we talked about doing it and we were like, we're going to stay.
I don't know if like the budget might have been that, but I reckon there were some side deals to keep that thing going because some of the sets were extravagant.
Also, this wasn't the Liz Taylor one, right? This is a different Cleopatra.
No. It's not the crazy one.
Yeah.
But
It
even
sunk
I thought
Columbia.
I think this is the
Which
one that
was
has
in the
that.
Columbia.
I'm not
60s,
sure
right?
if it's true or it's an urban
50s,
legend. This is the one with the milk. The milk bath.
I've spilled. Oh, I'm not sure.
Is that the one? Yeah, where
Pretty
they
sure.
actually put.
Yeah, put milk in there and left it, and someone thought it was marble floor and stepped on it.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a tour guide, apparently.
There goes your butt.
Yeah, they go,
let's keep going. So-
tips.
Okay, both of you.
Oh, come on. For the kids.
Oh, for the kids. Forsaking All Others comes in at number 3. It's an MGM here movie. It Happened One Night comes in number 4. More on that soon. Chained comes in number 5 for MGM. And to round out the top 10, Wonder Bar, The Barretts of Wimpole Street, Here Comes the Navy, Judge Priest, and at number 10, Treasure Island.
Yeah, I was going to guess Treasure Island, too.
I
Yeah.
remember Angela asked me today.
Here
'cause I
Comes
watched
the Navy
our
was a
movie today.
porn, wasn't it? I don't think we should count that.
Angela asked me today, how'd you choose The Thin Man? And I was like, we took a look at what movies came out. And it wasn't very hard, actually. It was a rare decision. A little bit of news. Samuel Goldwyn, formerly of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, purchased the film rights to The Wonderful World of Oz by L. Frank Baum for $40,000, which I did a little math on $40,000 because $50,000, which comes up in our movies, about $1.1 million. So $40,000, a little less than $1 million at this time period in today's money, but it's still a lot at the time to buy the rights to a novel. $40,000 is way more than a house.
God damn.
Bob Hope marries Dolores Reed. Fox Studios releases Stand Up and Cheer with 5-year-old Shirley Temple in a relatively minor role. Shirley steals the film, and Fox, which was nearing bankruptcy, found itself owning a gold mine because this is back when they had the contract for Shirley Temple. So this fucking 5-year-old girl saved Fox Studios, and the world has never heard of Fox ever since.
Yeah.
They've done nothing.
They were the
to
ones,
us
by the way,
recently.
who Cleopatra almost sunk. I was wrong. It was not Columbia.
Was it Fox?
So tough times were ahead when she stopped making movies.
So funny. She would also win like some Oscar that was like best amateur or whatever, best child
Best
Oscar.
exploitation film. Yeah.
Everybody loved her, dude.
She won an Oscar, but it was a non-competitive Oscar. Okay, Paramount releases Little Miss Worker with Shirley Temple, so that's Paramount, but it was on release or on loan from Fox in the title role. So Fox is probably thrilled. Like, yes, you get to get notoriety with this other movie, and then you have to come back to us. I'm skipping all this shit. This is wild. There's so much stuff. The Gay Divorcee grosses $1.8 million, etc. That's Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers.
Yeah.
It was their first joint starring roles, The Gay Divorcee.
Wow.
Or
That's
The
a
Gay
big
Divorcee. Yeah. So 1934. Pretty solid for them. And then the musical Babes in Toyland premieres, starring Laurel and Hardy in comic relief. And then Fox releases Sol M. Wurzel's production of Bright Eyes, starring their hot new property, Shirley Temple. That's fucking 3 Shirley Temple stories from this year.
Oh, yeah, it is.
But Shirley Temple sings the song On the Good Ship Lollipop, which I actually have later, so I'll spoil the fun now. Good Ship Lollipop was actually one of the top songs of the entire year. And it actually came out in this Fox studio film, Bright Eyes. And it won the first ever Academy Award given to a child, right, for her enduring role of Shirley Blake. So there you go. Big year for Shirley Temple here in 1934. She would retire in about 3 years and become an alcoholic. Okay, cool. So as far as the Academy Awards are concerned, Frank Capra's influential romantic comedy, It Happened One Night, John's guess for the #1 movie of the year. It became the first of 3 films to do the sweep of the top 5 awards: Best Picture, Director, Actor, Actress, and Screenplay. Can you name the other 2?
Nope.
Silence of the Lambs.
That's one.
And the 5 for 5. What is the other one?
Actor, Actress, Director, Picture, Screenplay.
Cuckoo's Nest.
Wow.
Yes,
Sean nailed it. And Dave, we did Cuckoo's Nest, and I definitely mentioned that trivia about 3 years ago. So there you go for the kids.
Boom.
That's right. Don't forget, Louise Fletcher won Best Leading Actress in a Movie. There was no way they wouldn't fucking category fraud her down to a supporting actress nowadays. There's no way they would put her in a leading actress category nowadays. No way. Fucking Viola Davis in Fences was considered a supporting actress. She was in the entire movie, even the 30 minutes after Denzel died, the lead of the movie, and she took over the lead. Louise Fletcher was in what, 20 minutes?
This is the perfect moment for me to clarify why I said what I said last time, because I've listened to all these books on the Oscar history and studio history and stuff. The 1935 Academy Awards, it was the 7th official Academy Awards, but it was significant because it was the first year the awards were formally called the Oscars. It also marked the introduction of some new categories, including Best Film Editing, Best Original Score, Best Original Song. Yeah. Anyway, there were a few changes they made that actually made it what we think of it as today.
If I'm not mistaken, no cinematography yet, though.
No cinematographer, that would be a while.
It's the 50s.
And ironically, I think it was the first Academy Awards that they also covered with like news footage. So they were at the Roosevelt Hotel over here, not too far away from where I live. And it was the first time that they actually tried to use it as more of like a PR thing, as opposed to it being an insular industry pat on the back kind of awards thing. So it ended up having a lot of significance. And Frank Capra, I believe, ironically, was the head of the awards, like the board or whatever they were the Academy that year. And he ended up winning that year, which is also like, who knows? It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Have a night. We almost did it. A fun fact about this. So Betty Davis was snubbed for Of Human Bondage, but this was one of 2 years that you could do write-in candidates, just like the Oscars, and just like the actual election, just like the presidential election. Claudette Colbert, who would end up winning for It Happened One Night, alongside Clark Gable, that was her leading actress and actor, respectively, said that this would be a shoo-in for Davis because the news alone about how you can write in, basically was you can write in Betty Davis as the news. It was like, you can do write-in candidates. For instance, Betty Davis, who was snubbed, you can just write her in. But actually, Betty Davis would come in fourth, and Claudette Colbert thought she had no chance. She was informed of her victory upon boarding a train for New York. She hastily rushed to the ceremony to collect her award, then went back for the waiting train. So she was like ready. She didn't think she would win because she thought Betty Davis would win because of this new award. And this is, right, John. It also was the first for Best Original Score and Song. Apparently score they didn't think that would affect movies here, which is funny because the score of our movie was written by somebody who had a doctorate. I loved seeing Doctor. I forget his name. I was like, oh, that's pretty fun. Our movie was nominated for 4 Oscars. It did not win any of them, but we'll talk about that in a second. Are you ready to hear some fun facts from 1934?
Yeah, let's go.
These are fun facts. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
London gynecologist Robert Kenneth Wilson.
Already loving it.
Took his famous photograph of the Loch Ness Monster. Didn't see that one coming.
What the fuck? No, I did not. I didn't know that.
I pulled the handbrake on so many jokes just then.
Wasn't that one of the best sentences you ever heard? London gynecologist Robert. He's not even from Scotland. So what is he doing taking this picture? No, the first dick pic was of Nessie.
Here's the
London gynecologist. What does he do in his reprieves? He goes to Scotland. It's so funny. Anyway, okay.
That's what they do.
Some quick facts. Magnetic tape recorders were available for the first time ever, initially for radio broadcasting. How about that? Influential songs were Good Ship Lollipop by Shirley Temple and You're the Top by Cole Porter. I believe that was also, that wasn't that the fucking, who are the people I just said? Fred Astaire? Isn't Fred Astaire and...
Is that from that movie? The Gay Divorcee?
It's got to be. Anyway, I sang that for an event one time. I think it's Gay Divorcee. I think so.
You're the top.
Yeah. The most famous person in America was probably Will Rogers. That's right, of the Will Rogers Follies out there in New York.
Without a doubt, yeah.
The MPAA certificate number 1 was for The World Moves On. 2010's Hot Tub Time Machine was certificate number... Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Still a good movie.
Notable books that came out this year.
Motion Picture Association of America? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, it had the first certificate. It was this year.
Consider how many bribes they've taken in that time.
The world moves on. Hot Tub's time. So whatever site I used must have come out in 2010 because it said Hot Tub Time Machine was 45,912. Notable books that came out this year include Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. I kind of thought she was done. I didn't realize she was still writing it here in the 30s.
Me neither.
I'm gonna. The first ever home use trampoline was created by George Neeson and Larry Griswold, and so many child's broken ankles.
Yeah, revitalized the plaster industry.
Yeah, that's right. Doctors have made so much money since then.
The first kids getting hurt handle was at home when you bought those little fucking trampolines.
Okay, a little bit of history. Ready? On January 1st, I love when something happens on the first day of the year. Alcatraz becomes a federal prison. And I hear that we want to reopen Alcatraz.
Yeah, did you hear? Did you hear?
Even though it's not only closed, it has so much asbestos.
Asshole's literally like,
you
that movie's so good. Did you hear about
Did you see? Did you see that Escape from Alcatraz was on TV that weekend in Florida? Did you see that?
You imagine you roll up in the bus though, you get off, and the first thing you do is buy a fucking ticket to get into prison.
Yeah. Nazi Germany enacted eugenics law. I'm going to skip over that one really quick. Australian Civil War happened this year. I would say not great to have a civil war in 1934 when you're right next to Germany and Italy. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. In the 1930s.
Did you say Austria
not a good
or
time.
Australia?
Austria. You Dave. You're not even drinking. You sounded sloppy. John Dillinger escaped from jail.
You can't pronounce my country without sounding drunk.
John Dillinger escaped from ale in Indiana using a wooden gun, furthering his criminal legend. Bonnie and Clyde were killed this year. So for Bonnie and Clyde fans, that final scene, which is so good in the movie, I don't know if it was like that in real life, but it was so good in the movie.
Yeah.
May 23rd was when they were died. Famous outlaws. They were killed in Bienville Parish, Louisiana.
They were died.
The Dust Bowl really fucked a lot of people over. Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. Are you ready? The top 10 baby names of 1934. Top 10. Are you ready? Mary, Betty, Barbara, Shirley, Dorothy, and Robert, James, John, William, and Richard. Really unique male names there.
Yeah.
U.S. life expectancy, males 59 years, females 63.
Wow.
Parker Brothers released the board game Sorry. Pennsylvania opened its first liquor stores. That's right. There were no liquor stores in Pennsylvania before 1934. How about that? Dave, you would like this. DC Comics was founded in 1934. How about that? Archie Comics.
Yeah.
Archie Comics and I'm going to say parentheses, Marvel Comics were founded in 1939. Dave, what was the original name for Marvel Comics?
That wasn't Action. It was the other one. No, I can't remember. It's gone.
Timely Comics.
That's right.
Those were founded in 1939. You know what else?
They actually have a character called Victor Timely.
Speaking of new pope, there you go.
He's as popular as that name.
Yeah. Well, he did get
Germany
canceled.
was going through. We already talked about eugenics. Germany was going through a rough time. This is the rise of fascism, but they did create Jägermeister in 1934. I was literally just talking about this with Angela, where we were talking about Jaeger bombs, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Originally created as a poison, and they kept the taste.
Oh my god! They're like, it kind of tastes like licorice if licorice could kill you.
Yeah.
The Apollo Theater held its first amateur night. That's earlier than I would have expected.
Oh, that is awesome! Yeah.
That's
great.
In 1934, Babe Ruth hit his 700th career home run and also played his last game with the New York Yankees, 1934. A couple prices. Let's get into prices, okay? Bacon, sliced 20 cents a pound. Baked beans, the B&M brand, 10 to 17
cents. Bacon was 20 cents a pound. No wonder the life expectancy was 59.
59.
For guys, for men, yeah.
They can't afford potatoes. All they could afford was...
Oh, the potato bag was like... pounds, yeah, whatever. I actually didn't put potatoes in here. Boneless beef pot roast was 25 cents a pound. That's pretty good. I'll take some of that. White bread was 9 cents for a 1 pound loaf. American cheese was 21 cents a pound. Parker's brand chewing gum was 2 packages for 5 cents. I'll take that. And let me skip ahead to a good one. What's a good one?
That's fun.
Chase and Sanborn coffee. That's right. Chase and Sanborn coffee was 29 cents for a 1 pound can.
How about
and Long
the cost
Island
of a house?
Long Island Duck was 19 cents. I actually didn't see House on the 2 sites that I looked at. I didn't see House. You can go ahead and look it up. But what's the House? 1934. House and car. Give me House and car.
Yeah.
A lawnmower, though, I can tell you a lawnmower was $3.79. And that means that lawnmower did not have an engine.
Yeah, right. I was going to say.
The The average price of a house in 1934 ranged somewhere between $4,000 and $7,000.
Bargain.
Fucking hell.
And the average wage per year, again, we always do this little calculation, was around $1,800 a year, which sounds like nothing, but think about that compared to how much your house was. Like, you could pay that off in your 30-year mortgage. You know, like it was still very feasible.
Yeah.
Cost about $25 a month to rent a house in 1934. We can do it, you guys.
A boy's suit was $20. Okay. I'm going to give you, this is the best. Are you ready?
Boy's
okay.
suit.
It's $20.
They still fit Jeff.
Who wrote that down?
It doesn't. Boy's suit. It said boy's suit. Okay, you ready? Here, it says, I'm not going to tell you 50. I like to do the top 10. But I have a couple honorable mentions here. So here we're so we always do food trends, the best food trends of the top. That's whenever we go back this far in time, we do the top food trends of the year. So here are the top food trends, which reminder, we're in the Depression era. So it's literally highlight this year as budget-friendly Depression era foods.
Yeah. Cardboard is number 1.
Delicious.
What'd you say?
Cardboard is number 1.
Cardboard. Get the fuck out of here. No respect. Okay, top 10. Are you ready? I wish I had a drummer. I wish I had some David Letterman music here. Are you ready? Top 10. Celery sandwiches.
Oh, that'll wipe the smile off your face.
Number 9.
No condiments. Just that white bread you just mentioned.
Celery on white bread. Celery on sugar yeast.
Celery.
Yeah. Number 9. Celery and cabbage sandwiches.
I'm seeing a theme.
Oh, is that
Number 8. Cabbage and pasta. I feel like you take one of the two and you carry it, you work your way down.
I love a boiled cabbage. I love it.
Me too. Number 7, buttermilk biscuits. Breaks the trend there. Number 7.
Excellent.
Number 6.
Excellent.
Number 6. Are you ready? Tell me the nutrition that is in a butter and sugar sandwich.
Yeah.
Butter and sugar. How do you tell your kids, I hope you make it to 18. I'm sorry that you're not going to be healthy and you're going to die young.
Dude, in Australia, one of the biggest things they still do it is they get like a square piece of bread, cut it into like quarters, and they put butter and those sprinkles from ice cream on it. They call it fairy bread, and they give that to kids at like birthday parties and send them home hopped up on fucking sugar.
Well, give them to kids while they have their baby teeth.
Yeah, right.
You know, and they're going to lose those anyway.
It's sugar sandwich.
Butter and sugar. That's number 6. Good. Number 5, John, you'd be happy. Boiled cabbage comes in there at number 5.
Bring it. There's no bread. Just fucking.
Number 4, Dave, you'd be happy. Beans and sausage.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that.
That sounds delicious, actually. That's a good meal.
Great.
Come on.
Glad John's eating meat again. We got number 3. You ready? Baked bean sandwiches.
I've had one of the, I used to make baked bean toasties.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just
number 4.
Spoiler alert, wait a couple of minutes to bite into it. It's fucking hot.
Yeah, it is too hot.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Number 2, baked apples.
Oh, my.
Apparently we could just give kids apples. We had to bake them and probably put a lot of cinnamon on them.
Well, if you bake them, it's dinner.
Sandwich.
And number 1, this is going to surprise nobody. Oh my God, our current president would be so happy. Ready? The number one budget-friendly Depression era food of 1934 was the American cheese sandwich. American cheese sandwiches. I'm sure that's basically a grilled cheese.
Number one Depression era meal and number 1 college food.
I have a couple honorable mentions. You ready? 20 through 22 are cucumber and mustard sandwich, cucumber and radish sandwich, and a dandelion salad. That's right. Dandelion salad sounds a whole lot like we got this food in our backyard for free.
Somebody comes out of the watering can. Where the fuck's me flowers?
We just used our $7 lawnmower, and we are giving you the best of what we chopped down.
Foraged.
And also, one more from 30 to 33. Here's a sweet spot. Jelly sandwiches, ketchup sandwiches, lard sandwiches, and mayonnaise sandwiches.
What I'm hearing is white bread was in no short supply.
Yeah.
In 1934. That was
white bread
dude.
salesmen were smoking the most expensive cigars, driving the biggest, fattest cars.
Yeah.
They were at the country club. What do? White bread. And people go, you're up next on the tee, right this way. Come on.
I'm looking
So
it up.
many
Who
sandwiches.
owns the white bread sandwiches in the 1930s? These guys are rolling in it.
That's
All the
old money.
pictures are
Yeah.
good.
White bread is old money.
1934. 9 cents for a 1 pound loaf.
Oh, that's so
Why drive
funny,
it?
dude.
Why drive a Ferrari when you could have 10 million people buy your 9-cent loaves over and over
These
and over
guys
and over
are
again?
killing it, dude. And they sliced it like game over.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh
Let's
my
go.
god! All right,
That
you
was
guys ready to
fun.
talk about the Thin Man? You ready to talk about the Thin Man?
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
go.
All right, so like always, I'm going to give you the IMDb description. That's what we do. We give you the IMDb description, and I send it along the way. But first, let me ask you all: was this a first-time watch for you?
No, I watch this once a year.
You watch the Thin Man once a year.
No, it's the first time watch for me.
There were 5 sequels, so this could be big on your list. You could have bought it. John, have you ever seen this movie?
I have seen this movie second time. And I won't even credit my own choice for watching it. We put this on, and Elizabeth, about 10 minutes in, she was like, I've seen this movie. I was like, oh, yeah. Like at some point last year, she watched it just for fun on the Criterion Channel. I came in like 15 minutes late. So I've seen the last majority of this movie,
Okay.
you know.
Angela walked in too. She loved them. She was really into it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So available for rent, not available to buy. But again, you can buy all 6 of these. There were 5 sequels.
Yeah.
3 sequels,
5
4
sequels and a
movies
radio
total.
show that doesn't come with the sequels.
And the radio show, which had the original cast, they all went
Yeah.
And a
back.
television show.
And a television show
Years later.
years later with
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Maggie Smith as Nora Charles. That was in the
Wow.
70s in Britain. How about that? Okay, cool. So The Thin Man, directed by W.S. Van Dyke, no relation to Dick. W.S. Van Dyke directed this, and he directed 4 out of the 6 films. He actually passed away in 1943, though, so he did not live long enough to see 5 and 6, but he was around, of course, for those. This is based on the novel from 1934, the same year. I don't know how that makes any sense, but the novel of 1934 by Dashiell Hammett,
Yeah.
with a screenplay by Albert Hackett and Francis Goodrich, who were a married couple.
That
I think
explains
that's
a
pretty
lot.
cool. The screenplay writers are a married couple. I have a couple good quotes in here, one of which was something along the lines of, our leads in this movie, played by William Powell and Myrna Loy, who play Nick Charles and Nora Charles, defy the conventional wisdom that once your matrimony is concluded, you no longer have sex or fun. They said this was they're like, they were still having fun, and they were clearly doing it based on the final shot of the movie. But anyway, I'm going to read the description. We're going to send it on our way. What'd you think? What'd you feel? Dave, we're definitely coming to you because you've never seen this before, even though you just lied about it. Former detective Nick Charles and his wife Nora investigate a murder case, mostly for the fun of it. Simple, sweet, short. Dave, what'd you think? What'd you feel? How did you like your first ever watch of 1934's The Thin Man?
Well, I'm going to be honest. Whenever we get back into black and white in this 30s era, I'm usually not a fan because I don't like the way they talk. I don't like the way they move the camera. I don't. There's a lot of stuff I don't like about this era. This, on the other hand, is a well-written script, excellent use of sets, cinematography that holds your eye, and excellent art direction. This might actually be my favorite film from the 30s.
Nice.
What?
Yeah.
What about
You know,
Goodbye,
it's
Mr.
filmed by-
James?
And I'm tempted to hunt down the other 5.
James Wong Howe
Yeah.
filmed this too. That
Yeah.
guy's no fucking slouch. He's like a
Damn-
master, right?
damn
I was
scoop.
surprised.
But
when I saw
also,
him.
like, it's like we're gonna run from a bedroom to a hallway, and they have the hallway. Like it's not like they use the set pieces they have, like, and they use them well, and it creates a little bit of a journey through the film. Whereas it's like, okay, he's run out into the hallway, but we're not going to cut to the hallway. We're going to cut to outside where they come outside or something.
Well,
So-
you know what they called W.S. Van Dyke? They called him One Take Van Dyke because he invariably got what he wanted in his first take and wouldn't shoot any coverage. So he could theoretically shoot an entire motion picture in 10 days.
Yeah, sweet.
He did almost no
this
coverage
is
on this movie.
also hell progressive for the
One-shot Van
30s.
Dyke.
Like, this is so fucking progressive for the 30s. Some of the shit they're saying.
One Take Van Dyke. Sorry, one take.
there's
All
a
right, sorry,
divorce.
yes.
Yeah, a divorced subject. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
A
lot
divorce
of
with
stuff in there.
fucking
Which I dug,
hilarious
and
lines.
Also, just the chemistry of the 2 main actors was amazing.
Unreal.
Like,
I know,
it's
they are-
entertaining to watch. This is entertaining to watch for me.
Chinese cinematographer in 1934. I feel like that's fucking cool. I feel like we got to really shout that out.
Anyone who has not done any reading on James Wong Howe should do it and watch every movie he's ever fucking filmed. Which is funny that I'm going to say this as just knowing what I know about him. I don't know about this movie specifically, but he was notoriously slow. He was a patient, tenacious cinematographer that did not necessarily work super well with the studio system's pace. And to pair him with Van Dyke, I'm really curious what that set looked like and how they worked together, because I'm sure James was always trying to make it look better. And Van Dyke was like, I don't fucking give a shit. Like, it's fucking,
there were a lot more moving cameras than I expected, that's for sure.
Me too. Yeah. Totally.
He would win 2 Oscars for 1956's The Rose Tattoo and for 1963's HUD, starring Paul Newman.
Right?
So there you go. Those are his Oscars. Wow.
Dave, I'm going to pick up where you left off, because I think what you said is, when you watch movies from the 30s, 20s for sure, 30s, even into the 40s, I think you're very immediately thrust into that period of time where the studios were, I'm not saying that there wasn't significance and they didn't want you to have multiple kinds of emotion, but they mostly wanted you to have a good time. They wanted you to be entertained, and they wanted you to enjoy watching what you were watching. It wasn't supposed to be challenging in the way we might have some spinach movies that come across the table every now and then in award season and stuff. You cannot watch this movie without a smile on your face. Yeah. It's just those two are fucking
hilarious.
William Powell and Myrna Loy are hilarious and perfect, but the script, there's lines with jokes. The information comes in between good banter and joke-centered dialogue. The staging is got a lot of gags, but there's still information that is being delivered to you. You go in there and you're just going to have fun watching the story unfold.
The dog gets a laugh at least 4 times through the movie.
This dog's a famous dog. Apparently this dog is so famous from this movie that they were billing him as Asta, is that the dog's name? Yeah. Instead of his original Asta, instead of his original name, because he was so famous from this movie. This dog's been in like 30 movies.
I believe it, dude. He crushed it. He did a great job.
It was like the dog and the artist.
The amount of Jeff, and you say this, I always think about whenever anybody, let's have some fun with it. Have some fun with it. The core essence of this movie is, you think it's about the audience knowing more than your lead characters, because we know a little bit more about the circumstance leading up to the murder than our lead character detective knows. But you very quickly realize when you're in William Powell and Myrna Loy's life, and you very quickly get into it, and they're so charming that you feel like you're a part of their marriage. You're like throupling with these people, and it's fucking hilarious. They won't stop drinking the whole time. And you quickly realize that the real story, the engine behind this, is that she thinks it's going to be fun for her and for him if he gets back into the old game. It's just too much fun for him to figure it out. And he has fun doing it. And like, it's not that it's not serious. I would even venture to say, when he goes to the factory at night, there's some suspense. There's just some genuine.
Oh my God! Yeah.
There's some dark lighting. There's
when
some
that guy's
fear,
going up the stairs. When that guy's going up the stairs. Oh my God!
Yeah, but ultimately, you're gonna have a good time. Pretty much every single fucking scene, you're going to have fun watching it, and that is hard to say for movies. We just don't really make movies like that anymore. We don't necessarily make them unless they're a part of like a big entertaining genre that's like spectacle, like action, like sci-fi and stuff that is on the lighter side. So. Fuck you if you don't have a smile on your face while you're watching this movie.
There's some quotes. New York Times said, on an excellent combination of comedy and excitement. I think that's pretty well put. And then for Variety, they said it was an entertaining novel, and it's an even more entertaining picture. For its leads, the leading actor and actress, the studio couldn't have done better than to pick Powell and Miss Lay, both of whom shade their semi-comic roles beautifully. And that's so well put that I'm frozen on Zoom right now. I feel like my screen is frozen.
You are frozen on my Zoom as well.
The audio's good?
I thought I saw
Don't worry, you have
a
really attractive photo. Yeah.
There he is.
Anyway, I'm back. We have a YouTube reminder. Anyway, I'm with you. And I'll say this. I started it today. This is a Sunday. It's also Mother's Day. It was beautiful outside. I probably should have watched it in advance. I got a little confused because the movie opens, and I loved the opening. And they mention his name a million times, Mr. Wynant. I think it's Clyde Wynant. They mention it. His daughter's Dorothy's getting married, etc. And then the bonds, and I was like, this is cool. And then once you go to the bar, once you go to that party, and all of a sudden everything becomes William Powell and Myrna Loy, I kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's just because it was early in the day and maybe my mindset wasn't like, we're sitting down and watching a movie yet, even though I have a movie podcast and I'm watching the movie for it. There was like a little bit where I was like, did I miss something? But even still, I was like it took me a while to remember that Wynant was the guy we saw at the beginning and Dorothy's the daughter. And then he has the secretary and it took me just for some reason, even though I met these people, it just took a second for me to like set, to get my ski legs on. But even still, you're right. The funny thing about, and they're in all 6 movies, but these 2 leads are so fucking funny. The lines are so good. They have some of the most funny, clever, interesting lines of all time. And you said it right, John. The fact that so she's a wealthy person from San Francisco and he's a retired detective from New York. And he went out to San Francisco to be with her for 4 years. And then he went back. And there's just something so funny about how she just thinks she basically, like, if everybody be like, ooh, you're sexy at something you do, great. Or you're hot at what you, ooh, I want to see you do what you do. Like, can you imagine being like an MLB baseball player's wife and never seeing him play baseball? And it's like, here's her chance. And I think there's something so funny about that, but she's also sassy. I mean, when the guy comes in at night with the gun in their bedroom and like all the fucking lines, he punches her in the fucking face. It's like, there's so many funny, there's so many things about it that are so funny. But also, he's so funny too, because you're right. I think the line that they're toggling now isn't the line that they're toggling is whether or not they're taking it seriously, because he knows all these people. He knows that he literally knows the guy who is accused of murder. He knows his lawyer who, and then there's like, he knows these people. They're at his party. He's inviting them. He's like, what are the killers here tonight? And he's having so much fucking fun with it. And she is like, who is it? Just tell me. He's like, I can't tell you. And they're having way too much fun with the fact that they know who this killer is. And for some reason, it's not just a comedy. It's not a musical comedy with it's not like, it's not like a musical comedy where you're like, oh my God, who is the killer? And everything's going to be all right because it is. It's like, somebody could be murdered here at this final night, but for some reason they hit that sweet spot so well. So I think that's what this movie does best.
I think to be honest, this should be a career goal for writing a husband and wife team. Because
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The
way they interact is so balanced. They just pass the ball back and forwards.
And there's something so unique about them. They have such a good relationship that it's so rare that you see like people at the center like that it's not sentimental. It's like there's no drama or suspected drama of what will happen if things start happening between them. There's no tension ever. Yeah. And that's so unusual. I think a lot of people would have tried to create a little bit of tension if he gets, what would be the classic? He gets too into the case and she's like, oh, I don't like it. Now you're getting too into it. I want my husband back. Like, they don't even play with that. That moment when Dorothy comes there and he takes her in during the party and he's alone with her and she opens the door on them when he's hugging her. And you think like, this is going to be the moment. And he just makes makes that funny face to her and she makes that funny face back at him and then closes the door. Like, it's those kinds of, there's something very exciting about knowing that they are rock steady.
I feel like that was a little bit of subverting,
a lot of weird faces at the end of the
expectation there a little bit too, because you're expecting a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't
We're expecting them to be like, and we've already talked about divorce. We expect maybe there's like a cheating, maybe there's a jealousy thing. Like, nope. I mean, the reporter, and this is right after that. So she literally just walked in on her husband hugging this young, attractive woman. The reporter says, say, listen, is he working on a case? She says, yes. Reporter, what case? A case of scotch. Pitch in and help him. Yeah. This is the woman now sassing a reporter in a murder case about her husband who was just hugging a woman. Like, the layers are so... How many drinks have you had? This will make 6 martinis. All right. Will you bring me 5 more martinis? I need to catch up. Like, it's so fucking funny. It's so funny.
I mean, they're also kind of like, it's glad that we can laugh about that now and still have fun. But I mean, back then, like, they were probably like the couple you wanted to be. Like, they were nonstop.
I mean, they still might be.
They were social. They could drink a lot. Yeah, honestly, they still might be. I mean, they just seem to have so much fun, like pushing it together. Like nothing was ever too serious. They couldn't find a way to have fun in any situation, and they could always just get drunk together and make it okay.
And gender roles, but this guy comes in at night with a gun, and the wife invites him in, first of all, so it's like that, and he's in the bed. First of all the stuff in the bed is so fucking funny.
Dude, the start of that scene.
He has to pour her drinks, the bedroom bar scene.
No, the start of that. The start of the scene. You asleep?
Hey, honey, yes. Are you asleep? No.
Good, I want to talk to you.
Yeah. That relationship trope never gets old. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've seen both sides of it too.
I'll say this too. This is kind of Angela and I. Sometimes I'm like literally dead asleep and she starts talking to me. She literally, like, in other situations, it might be like a sensitive subject. It's like, I'm just trying to sleep and you keep trying to wake me up and talk to me. And this time she literally is poking me and going, that's me, while she's laughing. Like, that's how loose this is. It's like, it's cutting through the tape of like this thing that could be contentious for us. And then it goes later and then the guy pulls the gun out and most of the time it's like, put that away. Like, there's a woman in the room. He's literally like, can you put that away, please? My wife doesn't mind, but I'm an awfully timid fellow. And he goes, you idiot. And he goes, all right, shoot. I mean, tell me what's on your mind. It's just fucking so ridiculous.
That scene is just champagne.
Yeah.
Our little inside moment was when after he gets the drink for the second, he gets it for himself. Well, I think I'll have one. And then he goes back to bed and she says, I'll have that drink. And he's like, very good. And he gets up and gets it for her. And he lays back down and you hear knock, knock, knock. And she says, did you hear that knock? And he says, yes, I did. And he just continues going to sleep.
This is also after. Was it her? Where she says, is that my scotch? I think I had a rye. And he drinks the whole thing and he goes, yep, that's yours.
That is your drink.
Dude, that
So
knock on the
cute.
door thing in the middle of the night happened here the other night. Like someone rang our buzzer at 3:50 in the morning, and I'm just like, I'm not opening that door at 3:50 in the fucking morning. It was a fucking Amazon delivery guy. You can select. Apparently,
what time?
You can select your times now in certain people's accounts, and the first one is 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. So Amazon will turn up.
You thought you needed it for the workday.
Yeah, Amazon will turn up at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning now at your house.
All right, so I talked about.
I almost had a gripe about Amazon Day, but I didn't want to.
Let's talk a little bit technical here for just a second. This movie opens with a very restrained camera language, except for, and I thought this was, Dave, I want to ask you if you felt the same way I did. It starts wide with that opening scene. There's a few establishing shots that are quite wide. And then it does something kind of strange when Dorothy, his daughter, and the almost son-in-law, the fiance, come in. They cross the line a couple of times in a kind of a strange way. They go over what was his name? Like Wyatt, the inventor's. They go opposite his side, and then they cover Dorothy and the other guy on the side that the wide shot was established on. And just generally speaking, this isn't like silent era. They knew what film language was. The line had already been established. They knew how to actually do things. There were a few ways that they chose to film things in this movie that I just thought were very unorthodox. And it actually ended up creating something that didn't feel... this movie doesn't have the kind of formalism of a lot of movies that were made at this time.
Yeah.
That have that kind of very standard, traditional language. And I think because of that, it actually made it kind of made it feel idiosyncratic sometimes. Like there were some strange ways that they would approach things, and it was technical. And if you don't know that, you might not notice it. But I think it removed that era of that little quality of formalism. Yeah, what did you think about that?
Well, I didn't actually notice it until you said something just then. But for me, the feeling I got from that first scene was I'm an observer, and then the feeling I got from once we went with the actual couple, you were part of the family. Sort of, you were part of the couple.
Totally.
So they like maybe they were switching angles. Maybe there was just a giant fucking table in the way they couldn't move. It could have been that too.
Part of me also thinks James and Mr. Van Dyke were fighting the whole time. And they were like, how are we going to get this scene done in less than 6 hours? And James McCall was like, I thought we were just shooting 2 shots today. This is going to look great.
Didn't care for coverage.
Yeah, honestly.
Apparently
really
in the original New York party scene, because it was the first shot that they had of our lead character, William Powell, apparently they were rolling and didn't tell the actor. Like, apparently this is just something they did. And then they said cut and they kept some. I think that whole martini thing at the beginning was totally ad-libbed.
Here comes the man, ammunition.
Oh my God. I love ammunition. Back to a time where you just said ammunition when you had drinks and rounds. And the way he said it too. Ammunition?
Here's that guy again. Oh, there's a few lines from that scene I'm totally going to pull.
For me though, I still think, I know that the filmmaking is brilliant and I love how simple it is, but the writing really is the thing. We're talking about the actual quotes, but the structure of this is incredible, right? Like I set it up before, but we meet our main characters whether it's Fargo, Kurosawa actually loves this movie, believe it or not. And so like to have the people who are involved in the crime first, and then once the husband and wife take over, that's the tone for the rest of the movie, even though like the crime and I mean, just the crime alone, that could be a Kubrick movie. That could be a Hitchcock movie. A Hitchcock
Psycho.
movie for sure. Yeah, exactly.
You literally kill off your lead in this movie 15 minutes into it.
And it's so good. And he has all of this motivation because they're looking for the war bonds, which, by the way, again, $50,000 worth of war bonds is $1.1 million in today's money. And this was going to be a wedding present and it's gone. And the secretary maybe took it. It's like, it's so good. So
it is so good. You're totally right. I'm going to go back to what I said at the very beginning about how they don't like challenge the audience. But you know what? You guys have pointed out two things that I think are important for why this feels like an adult movie. Still wanting you to enjoy the whole time, but the structure is a little challenging. That maybe they saw more plays and they were used to this kind of sleuthing kind of storytelling, maybe a little bit more than we are now. Maybe it was its own genre back then a little bit more.
It might have actually been influenced by radio plays too at this point.
Well, for sure. But I mean, what was that? Julia Christie, Agatha was still writing, so maybe they were a little bit more used to these kinds of ploys than we are now. But that structure is a bit of a challenge. And Dave, you mentioned it early on. There are multiple divorced couples here. We're talking about loose women and cheating men and domestic violence with comedic tones, but they're there for sure. Like the whole time, like from the beginning to the end, all the way up till when, what's his name? Chris brings his actual wife to that dinner. When they, and you find out like, oh shit, your marriage actually was illegal. So I think there are some things that are a little bit challenging that made people feel like this is more than just entertainment. This is pushing some social norms.
And they sprinkle the comedy in early contextually where you have the dad who has this really, like he wants these millions of dollars of war bonds that are gone and stolen from him. And he's angry and he's an inventor and he has his business, etc. And the divorce and such. And then as soon as he leaves, you have his daughter, Dorothy, and her future husband, they're engaged, he says like, why did your mom ever leave him? And she just says, he had a secretary. Or she has a secretary, and he goes, "Oh, like it's like, well, I'll do my own typing." It's like
he had a secretary biblically.
Because I thought it was going to be like a murder. It could have been like a fucking noir at that point. But it was like literally just that alone. Like even in this, before we even meet the married couple, it was like there's going to be some fun with divorce.
On the stakes of set.
A secretary.
On the stakes of the set, when they go to he goes to the guy's house and his wife's there shouting at him. And they're having that back and forth. Who the fuck designed these kitchens with living rooms with kitchens in them? It's like just a kitchen and a curtain, and that's your living room.
Open concept.
And but like, I took a bit of exception because, like, I occasionally mouth off in the living room too, and I don't want pots to come flying at me out of nowhere.
That's why they were designed that way.
She had a fucking arsenal, man. She just lobbed a pot at him. Like,
when she threw that there are two hilarious hits in that movie. One of them is when he punches her out cold to
so she doesn't get shot. Yes.
And the other one is when that woman throws that fucking pan and it splits. The whole fucking pan like splits. She hits him with the handle. The actual pot part goes flying toward the camera.
Yeah.
You can. It's hilarious, dude. It's just
How
so
funny
good.
is it that he wakes his wife up after punching her out by pouring whiskey down her throat?
In her mouth. Here, honey, drink this.
Hey, don't worry about choking on this or inhaling it.
I just wanted to see you take him. She was like, "Why'd you punch me out? I wanted to see it."
Yeah, I wanted to see it.
Oh, so good. God. All the performances.
And he just told the cops, "I had to punch out my wife to save her." And she goes, "You didn't have to punch me out as soon as she wakes up."
It's so funny. All the performances. Maybe not every single one of them. They're broad. Some of them are over the top.
Yeah, the guy calling his mom on Christmas is so over the top.
So over the top, right? It's almost like they were playing with the tropes of this genre. Like, there's a part of me that wonders if this actually is even smarter than it seems to somebody from our day and age. Like, again, that you've heard all these radio plays, these kinds of stories were so common back then, just crime stories. And yet they had a couple at the center that was saying, if you say lines on the page sincerely and not with the sense of humor they had, good night, sugar, sugar. You know, the way he would like just jokingly like say things in a funny voice and stuff. There were so many things that I wish I could know. I wish we could ask somebody who was an adult at the time. Were they subverting a lot of this stuff? Is this actually like a little bit of satire on this genre? A parody?
That's how I took it. Like,
yeah, it kind of feels that way.
That particular voice is the one I hate the most. Like that line,
and they do it
line delivery. Yeah, they
right?
but they're doing
the detective's voice.
Yeah,
that guy's voice.
They're taking the piss half
and
the time.
reporters' voices. The reporters' voices too.
Yeah.
Oh,
can you tell us anything about the case? Yes, it's putting me way behind in my drinking.
It's putting me way behind in my drinking. God, every fucking they're just too funny.
It's the nicest dinner I ever listened to. I mean, come on, like it's so good.
All right,
to give it up for William Powell too, because you have the clown and the straight man, right? Like I think she's more the clown, the straight man. I think he's more the clown, right? Between the two of them, and there was not a moment where I didn't feel that he almost every line out of his mouth is a joke. And there was not even, it was all truthful to me. I felt a character moving through time and learning information and dealing with it with jokes. You know, it didn't feel like a situation comedy the whole time. It felt like he was really truthful and honest, and that was just who he was and how he dealt with it. You always felt that like behind his jokes, he was like 3 steps ahead of everybody. It was just, it was very smart, very smart.
Yeah.
If that knife's missing, I'll look for it in your back.
Look for it in your back.
Okay. I'll just say, we've pretty much quoted the whole movie now. So.
Wait, I'm going through the quotes on IMDb.
We could keep going too, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the dinner scene. Let's wrap it up here at the end. But I'll just say there's one other scene that I want to shout out to, which is the scene where they go investigate that one guy that we already saw on the phone, and he hung up the phone when the original inventor answered. So we know he has something to do with the secretary. We don't know if he's the killer. It seems that he seems to be working for the killer, who's the lawyer, of course. And he's the one who when he's approached and there's the woman in the kitchen, he is such he's so obviously guilty. And then he goes, hold on, let me show you. And he goes into the other room and closes the door. And the detective picks up the phone. Sorry, our lead picks up the phone. Yeah. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm calling the station. I want that guy to be tailed. I want to know where he's going. And you could see the guy, like it takes a second for the detective to look and be like, oh, and so this guy who's retired, like he's not even something like he is going to escape through the back door. He's literally so calm. And he's like, he obviously just escaped through the back window and you're such a fucking idiot. You didn't notice it, but don't worry. I'll call the tail for you. We'll get him figured out in no point. And he did. He was murdered and they found him in like a second. But I loved how calm and fucking cool our lead guy was.
That was a great scene.
It was fantastic.
There were so many good ones.
So let's talk about.
I just want to put it up one more time. It's a technical thing, but I thought so much came from it in terms of atmosphere, the new tone shift in the film. It basically taught you how to put that smile on your face after you saw that intriguing opening. The dinner party, that opening party, that cocktail party for Christmas, his return.
Oh my God!
Yeah, the staging and the film work and the camera, the 3 different rooms. There was
personalities.
Closing the doors.
It was unreal. I can't imagine. I mean, I can't imagine. It would be a dream to rehearse that with a group of actors and to actually have that open space and then just figure out where we're going to put the camera. That must have been so much fun. And it was just, I had so much fun watching it. And that's like kind of a dream. Yeah. That kind of movie there's so many movies from that period. Like, give me a fucking cocktail party with tuxedos in a New York penthouse with that kind of dialogue, those kinds of movies. You're going to have a
ordering
great time.
Up sandwiches and drinks, just calling them up, be like, we need more sandwiches.
All About Eve. It's that kind of style.
Exactly,
remember that scene, right? It's fantastic. And I thought this one just had way too much fun, and it allowed for a lot of really interesting filmmaking. The actual storytelling with camera got so much more interesting in that part of the movie for me.
Let's talk about so then it's kind of bookended by another dinner scene, which is the end, and it starts out with the wife trying to figure out exactly like who it is, who do you think it is, and then they're trying to do the seating arrangements, and they're like, whoa, they don't get along. We should put them next to each other, and then it leads into to, of course, like, the killer scene, he has the lawyer next to him, etc. But like, how did that go? Because that is writing, that is a play. That's a radio play, but it's a play on stage. That is something that is so obviously that can be done that way. And also, if you read a lot of like plot points, if there's 2 or 3 paragraphs, that's like a full paragraph. That's like a third of the plot is the final scene. So do you think that just became like a writing? How did it fall in line? Was it just like a quick way? Like, how did you encompass that in your brains?
That's like a classic whodunit structure. Like you collect the clues and then you get everybody involved in a room and then announce that you've discovered who the murderer was.
But what's so again? What's the subversion?
But
the subversion is when she's like, "Honey, why are you asking them all these questions?" She's like, "Do you really think it?" He's like, "I don't know who did it, but I think we'll figure it out if I keep pushing everybody." And there was so much room for comedy. The way he would like just that classic comedic ploy where he would be like, "Blah blah, blah Jorgensen," and and they would all, they were like panic. He was like, "Would you like some more wine?" And he would just, it was almost like Ace Ventura, like the way it was written.
If anything,
so
it was a group interrogation as well.
Exactly. So they took the Clouseau, that's his name, right? That's Agatha's guy with the Clouseau. They took Clouseau's, the standard, I'm going to get them all in a room, we're going to figure it out. But they had ways to subvert it. And they also, filmmaking-wise, kind of returned to a lot more restraint, where they only had like some simple set. There was nearly, I don't know if there was any moving camera, but there were less setups too. So you really were kind of taught, now we're back in that.
Fast.
Yeah. And it just relied on just the humor of that scenario. And like so many movies back then, they wasted no time to get us out of there and get us right to the end coda. He was like, boom, there's your man. He punched him in the face. Yep. He was like, there's your boy. And they were like, cut out of that, and they're on the fucking train. And it's just like, I love how quickly these things happen. But Jeff, you asked the question, how did you feel about it? How did you wrap your head around it? Did you feel like it was...
I had fun. I literally just watched Clue again this week. It's just like a fun thing that we love in the house. And it's not exactly that final sequence but it's like, it's funny too, because it's like he's saying it and he's wrong. And I can't tell if he knows he's wrong or if he's throwing things out. But then once he gets it, and then again, there's that punch, which was ridiculous with his wife, but it was basically the same punch on this guy with the gun. I do think they pulled it off, even though it's a big chunk. It's a big thing at the end.
But that's great. So you did watch a sincere version of this kind of storytelling this week.
Yeah.
Did this kind of feel a little bit like parody, a little like, it has SNL hints in there.
A little bit, but it also felt like they really needed to figure out the ending. And if they were just sincere, they would have never gotten the answer in a way. It had to be confusing enough in order to spark something.
We certainly... How about this? Let's put it another way. And I think this is so important for this movie specifically. If they had gone sincere with the end of it, we would have lost the character of him and her, for sure. It wouldn't have been as funny, and you wouldn't have felt like the way he goes about living his life was brought into the way he finishes his cases. Like, I never lost him throughout.
It would have been far less satisfying.
He was just getting drunker and drunker and drunker while he was doing it. It was funny.
Well, guys, I honestly think we're at the point where we should start winding it down, though. We could rant about this forever in a good way, not a bad rant, a good rant. But I don't know if there's any other skin on the bones here, but any final words you want to say? Did you guys guess the killer?
That'll be my last question, just as an audience member.
I did not, Dave.
I didn't, but I guess in hindsight, I should have. It probably would have been somebody higher up. Like, how many important people were there besides detectives? Like, the lawyer makes the most sense. But anyway, what do you think? Did you?
No. And he's so non-threatening. You just don't think it's going to be him.
Yeah, he also kind of looks like the main guy in a way. Like, there's something like there's something with the mustache that they had. Yeah, like the little mustaches that they had. But the other guy, the lawyer we saw in Double Indemnity. Is Double Indemnity.
Did you really? Oh, that's excellent.
Okay. Well, friends.
That's it. The Thin Man.
We're bringing it too
Beautiful.
close. Thin Man. I got to see. I want to see at least one of the sequels. I know it's good. I want to see.
Good image.
They started churning them out. This was 34, 36, 39. They started churning out these sequels. And the radio play was 36 as well. So, or the one with all of them. Okay. Awesome. Well, Dave, it's time. It's time for you to spin the wheel to tell us what year we're going to be doing next week. But we're not going to tell you what we're doing. We're going to go ahead and do that at the end of the episode, but let's get the year. So let's go ahead and spin. We're going to guess, John, what do you got?
There's a slim chance it'll be less than 1934, but I don't think so.
John?
63.
I'm feeling old now too because of that. We were all in the 80s before. I'll do 51.
Here we go.
Excellent.
19. Okay, here it is. Is that a 9 or a 6? 9 or a 6? It's a 6, John.
Oh, boy.
61.
Oh, so close.
So close.
So close.
So close.
1961. Well, we're not going to sit here and Google movies from 1961. We're going to tell you what you've been watching and what we've been watching in our segment, What You've Been Watching. And then we're going to tell you at the very end of this episode, after you listen to some Dashiell, what we're going to do next week from 1961. Dave, we'd like to start with you. What have you been watching?
It's I'm actually, while you guys were off playing, I was working a lot, so I pretty much just kept going through my rewatch of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And?
Yeah.
And I forgot how much fucking fun that show is. Like up until I don't know if we've even seen season 7 because I was watching it in Australia and I don't know if they even got it there. But it's just fun. The characters are good. I'm surprised they declared it non-canon. And disappointed a
It
little.
is really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of strange that they did that.
They do have a golden
I
opportunity.
watched all of it.
Secret Wars coming. They have a golden opportunity to bring them in. I don't think they'll do
They
it.
could totally easily do that. Yeah.
But like people would lose their mind if the camera pans around and like Daisy Johnson's standing there. Anyway,
John, what you been watching?
I
flying.
did some flying. So these are flying movies. I watched The Bourne Identity. God, it's still so good. It's so much fun.
I read the book. It's good.
I wanted more Bourne, but they didn't have any of the other ones, so I watched The Martian when Jason Bourne goes to space. Sure.
Yeah. Very expensive guy, Matt Damon.
Yeah, I love that quote.
This flight brought to you by Matt Damon.
That meme is so funny. Edge of Tomorrow. Had not seen that since it came out.
Yeah.
And that was a fun rewatch, which I also forgot. Also a Doug Liman film. So director of the first Bourne
really
Identity.
fucking love that film.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It held up. It was fun. And the last one I watched was Tony Scott's Man on Fire.
Denzel.
Good stuff. That's it. How about you?
Watched a lot of TV, so we watched all of Étoilé. Someone in the family here worked on Mrs. Maisel, so knows the Palladino family really well, and knows Lou Kirby, who is the lead of Étoilé. I will say they started filming right after Maisel, so it was like still pandemic-y, and then they had the writer's strike get messed up, and I would say that it seemed a little overwritten, over-directed, which is a term I've been using a lot because of Severance and other things, but it really felt, it felt stiff, like the writing, it felt like they were cutting to people too much, too frequently. It just didn't land. But the ballet was great, and so if they just really stuck to the point, like Black Swan did, I think I don't know. It seemed like they were.
Which one was this? Which show?
This is Étoilé. It's the so Amy Sherman Palladino, who did Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Gilmore Girls.
I feel like you've ruined yourself watching Black Swan just before that.
Yeah, maybe.
Sets an unfair benchmark.
But the crazy thing is the dance was really good.
Yeah.
Like when they were in the dance studio, when they were working on dance-related stuff, but they just got a little clever here and there, and they got a little too... They were just showing us too much. And it was a little grandpa humory where they're like, they thought this would be funny. So they were cutting and editing the things that they thought would be funny. And it's like, no, this... Anyway, so that was tough. But the dance was amazing. So Étoilé on Prime. We watched almost all of Your Friends and Neighbors. The show's not finished yet, but I really like that. It's the John Hamm show on Apple TV+. I really like that. I watched most of the Four Seasons show, which is Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte. That one's pretty good, but I like Your Friends and Neighbors better. We watched Clue, and then we watched Heretic, and Angela loved it so much and immediately wanted to restart it, and I was like, no, and she was like, I want to watch it again. I was like, I want to watch something else. We'll just keep watching other things. But
did you
really
not like
Heretic.
it, or you really?
No,
liked
I liked it. I just want to see other things. She was just like, I want to watch it again. I want to watch it again. She's like, oh my god.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's that. I feel like I saw another movie somewhere in there, but that's the stuff that I'll stick with for now. But Heretic for sure is great.
Oh, I finally got Therese to watch Companion as well.
I started seeing that.
And she loved it as much as I did.
And
Nice.
oh, cool. Oh, and I'm watching a lot of Andor. I'm not done. I think the final episodes drop in the next week, so we'll see if I'm there. It's a lot of episodes. It's a lot. I feel like
good.
It is really good. It is really good. I was worried. I have to admit, I was worried at first when they started doing like the all the.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
No, I'm not spoiling it. Those kids in that one planet that just had all these weird petty fights, and it's like, but I think there's some really cool stuff. I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's very good. The closer we get to the thing, by the way, I think it's the better. So anyway, let's take a quick break. Listen to some Dashiell. We're going to tell you very, very soon what movie we're doing from 1961. See you in a second, film fans. And we're back.
We're back.
And we're back, baby.
I'm so excited. 1961, the last time we were here, we went to Through the Glass. What is it?
Through a Glass Darkly.
Yeah.
Fuck. Max von Sydow. That was our first of now 2 Bergman movies.
I think so, yeah.
With okay, anyway. So now we're doing another film that's not from America. Thank God. We're doing Yojimbo, people. This is the Dollars trilogy. This is the reason that it couldn't come out in America, is because they literally took the plot 2 years later and started filming in Spain instead of wherever. So yes, Yojimbo, 1961, Kurosawa, Tafune. Oh my God, I just fucked up his name. Mifuno. Fucking
It's
hell.
not Mifune.
God damn it.
Is it?
Mifune,
Yeah, it is. It's Toshiro Mifune.
Toshiro Mifune. I'm such a fucking dick.
Toshiro
Okay, anyway.
Nakadai.
What a good
Kizu
setup for next
Kobayashi.
week. Are you excited to join us or what? I'm so excited to talk about it. I can't wait. Dave, are you
it's so
excited? You're
good.
thrilled. You made the deciding
It's on
vote.
Max. It's on
Which way is it?
Criterion.
Dave's this way.
Go watch.
Yeah. Fuck
All right,
everybody. Let's
that was
go watch
fun.
this movie.
Fuck yeah.
See you soon. Until next time, film fans.
Peace.